Alright, Shalom. All praises, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakaha Kodash, double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutation goes out to the elect, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Alright, Lord willing, this one will be quick and edifying to the elect.
They're canceling DEI across America in businesses and schools except for one group of people. And guess which group of people that is?
8:44, everybody. And a groundbreaking announcement by the U.S. Commerce Department this week will result in a historic expansion for Jewish businesses, not only in New York, but across the country.
Yeah, Jewish businesses will now be classified as minority business enterprises, making them eligible for billions of dollars in grants, contract, and loans.
So now they're going to be getting access to billions of dollars of taxpayers' money for free. DEI is canceled for others, but enhanced for them, huh? Listen to the explanation.
Duvi Honig is the founder and CEO of the Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce.
Think about it. The Hispanic community is 19% of the U.S. population.
Yeah.
The African American is 15% of the U.S. population. The Jewish population is 2%.
And did you catch that subtlety? 19% Hispanic, 15% black, and 2% Jewish. They're counting themselves and listing themselves as a racial minority, not a religious one. Everybody except for themselves counts them as white. So are they a religious group or racial group? Really, it's whatever benefits them in the moment, isn't it? And the icing on the cake?
Jews are always the underdog. And it doesn't make sense. Like 2% of, we're the biggest, smallest minority in America,
Yeah.
you know? And we had no voice. We had no eligibility to access our taxpayers' dollars as the biggest minority and the biggest suppressed people.
They have no voice? Who owns the media? And they're the biggest oppressed group in America? I would love to see all the fact checkers fact check this, but
Taxpayers' dollars as the biggest minority and the biggest suppressed people.
they have no voice? Who owns the media? And they're the biggest oppressed group in America? I would love to see all the fact checkers fact check this, but unfortunately they own all the fact checkers too. We're not waking people up, they're waking people up with their own arrogance, and they're being too blatant about their control of things. They're canceling.
Yeah, this is why we hate you fucking devils, man. You ews, you fucking small hats, man. Like, even the Edomites, man, they're mourning. All the nations, man. All nations. Let me get that. I didn't even cue that one up. Let me get that real quick. Fucking devils, man. As soon as the scriptures tell you, man, as soon as they get, they're pushed out of the womb, man. As soon as they exit the vagina, they corrupt the earth, man. So this is Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2, and it says, "When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn." And the Edomites mourn as well. They're the same nation. The Amalekites. The so-called, Jews. These Jews, the small hats. They cause everybody on the earth to mourn. And suffer. And everybody's seeing their wickedness. It cannot be hid anymore, right? So let me just get that real quick, since we're there already. So this is Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus chapter 12. Chapter 12, verse 10, and it says, "Never trust thine enemy, for as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness." And iron, rusts for a very long time, man. And it gets worse and worse and worse and browner and redder and, all kind of different variations of that hue. It just rots and gets worse. Like, you can see it, you just see it there. It looks contagious. It looks very infectious. It just gets bad, man. And that's what they're likened unto, iron. That's how bad his wickedness gets. It gets worse and worse and worse. Verse 11 says, "Though he humble himself, he pretends not to be the devil. He pretends like he's good and you're bad. You are the violent ones. You're the ones that are doing all of these wicked acts in America, killing and robbing." And although, You Israelites, you so-called Negroes and Hispanics do commit crimes. It's nothing compared to this devil. If you want to go, you want to deal with statistics and numbers. We don't come close. It's not even close. At the end of the day, they're the ones that are bringing the weapons into the countries, and the GMO and the food, the poisonous food, spraying chemtrails in the sky, killing people, you know, causing war and mass death. They're the ones that are doing the damage. They're the ones that are they're the real boogeymen. They're the real what's the word I'm looking for? They're the real killers, man. And murderers. They're the real thugs. They're the real niggers, if you want to put it that way. And it says, though he humble himself and go crouching, he's acting, oh, we're the most oppressed and we're the minority, all that bullshit. Because they have that power. They control the media. Here it is. This devil controls the media and everything that goes out. Social media, TV, newspaper, you name it. He's the one that controls all of these things, these TV stations, the Hollywood, everything that influences the mind. He is in control of it. And here it is. He's here trying to, convince, people that they're suffering and they're a minority and blah, blah, blah. And you're going to have dumb people that follow and believe these things, because it's a witchcraft. It's a witchcraft of the media, and it spells, man. It may not seem that way, but that's the power what these people have, man. But we're not ignorant to his devices. We know their God is a spiritual demon, Satan, and it says, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as thou had wiped as a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. And that's what's happening, man. Even that Edomite breaking down the video, he probably was ignorant to it at one point, but you wipe that looking glass. You wipe. You have a mirror. You take a shower and the mirror is all foggy. You can't really see, the reflection, and you start wiping and you can see yourself. That's what people do. That's what's happening with Esau right now. His wickedness is being uncovered. Right? And verse 12 says, set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Right? And that's what he did. He according to the prophecies, Yahweh Shem Yoshai gave him the power to do it, but he has taken our identity. He pretends to help, and then he overthrows you. That's what he did with Gad. That's what he did when he in the transatlantic slave trade. That's how he caught some of us, even though majority of our people were fleeing from their persecution, and we fled into the mountains, we fled into the dispersion of Africa, all over Africa, right? He will come with that soft approach, and come close to you, and then he'll overthrow you. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. Exactly. And thou at the least, the last, remember my words and be pricked therewith. And it goes on to say, who will pity a charmer that is bitten by a serpent? Right? Because we're not supposed to trust our enemies, as it says further up, or any such as come nigh wild beast. So one goeth out. Right. So that's the point, man. Let me continue. So one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with him in his sin, who will pity? Right. For a while he will abide with thee, but if thou begin to fall, he will not tarry. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes. Just like Esau wept, man, when he lost it. It was never his blessing to begin with. But when he didn't get the blessing that Jacob received, he was crying. He was seeking it with tears. And that's what these devils do. But but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. All the bloodshed that he has caused, fucking up, so-called Negroes and Hispanics' lives. That's not enough for him. All the bloodshed that he has caused by giving you power, giving you the instruments to destroy yourself. He's the one that's doing it, through Yahweh Shem El Shai, of course. But that does not excuse him for the judgment that he's going to receive for doing that. And that's how the Lord works. The Lord made him do this so his judgment can be what it's going to be. He will not be satisfied with blood. He wants to exterminate you tribes, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, scattered Israelites looking like the heathens, still suffering the same curses, I might add. Verse 17, if adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. And though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. He will discredit you and gaslight you. And he's a master gaslighter, man. This is the devil. He manipulates things, man, for his benefit. He will shake his head and clap his hand and whisper much and change his countenance. He's going to show who he actually is. He doesn't hold to any agreements or any deals. He's not an honorable person. This devil. Esau Edom does what he wants, what benefits him. Why? It's very simple, man. We all know this. This is Job chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked, and he covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? And this is a question. You figure that out. Who is the devil? Who is in control right now? As Yahweh Shemel Shai, has stated here in the scriptures, he put the earth's possession into the hand of the wicked. So by a process of elimination, you should identify who is the wicked, who is the nation that is in control right now. Yes, the so-called white race, the so-called Caucasians, the Edomite race, the red man, which the blood shows through his skin, his pale skin. That's who the devil is, man. The earth is being controlled by him. So this is Psalms chapter 73, verse 1. Truly, God is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. Right, because at the end of the day, all Israel will be saved and being brought back into the kingdom and reincarnated into the kingdom in righteousness. That's just point blank, period. So Yahweh Shem Yoshai is good to Israel for real. However, we're going through our curses and our punishments for what we have done in previous lives, and not hearkening to the Yahweh Shem Shai. And it's really just for, to learn and appreciate. And that's what experience is. That's the blueprint of Yahweh Shem Shai. We have to go through the experience of things to really appreciate it and have a story and have a what do you call it? Appreciation for what, this truth is, and the deep, beautiful things and righteousness that we're going to experience. It's necessary to go through the things that we go through so you can look back and reflect and appreciate and have that feeling of appreciation, man. Words, there's so many things that, we want to express. I want to express that I can't find the words to express because it doesn't seem like it's enough, because these things that we hope for and pray for, words cannot explain. So it says, but as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped, for I was envious at the foolish, which is Esau Edom, when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. Because they're very prosperous in this world, man, and their belly can never be full. They're always seeking to eat more and take more and put you further down into the dirt under their feet. For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. And they're not, but they still seek to take all the benefits which you so-called Negroes, Latino, Native Americans, you still don't have any benefits that really help, to the extent that we need. But this devil wants to even take that. He wants to be a part of that. He wants to be a beneficiary of those things and manipulate it to his benefit even more. And what more could these devils want, man? That's they are the wicked, man. That's why we hate you, Esau. I hate you. As Yahweh Shemel Shai hates you as well. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain, violence covereth them as a garment. This is what I was talking about, man. There's nobody on planet Earth that is as wicked as you so-called white people, man. You Edomites, you're the cancers of the earth. You're the wickedest nation on the planet Earth, right? Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than the heart could wish. You have more than what you need, more than what your heart could desire, yet still you still seek to fill up your cups, man. Fill up your plate till it's overflowing, falling off. And you're killing the nations for the crumbs, man. The crumbs that are falling off of your plate. You're killing and taking the crumbs, and you cannot hold the crumbs, but you still want to do it. You still want to continue um, um, overthrowing the nations, man, and oppressing the nations. Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than the heart could wish. They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. They speak proudly, man. They set their mounts against heaven. Their tongues walketh through the earth. And I'll read to the point. My favorite part. They set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walketh through the earth. Therefore his people return hither, and waters of a full cup are wrung out to them. Heavy judgment is coming to you, man. And they say, how doth God know? How does the Most High know? This fucking devil, man. How dare him, man? Is there knowledge in the Most High? And this is the mindset of these Edomites. They think their God, the spiritual demon Satan, is God, and they're on the winning side, and blah blah blah, because he is deceiving them. He is the one that is communicating with the elites, and making them believe these things, because they do have a blessing on their side. There was only two nations that were promised to have possession of the earth, and it's the so-called Edomites and you Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which are the chosen people of Yahweh Shemel Shai. So as it says, Jacob, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And we're in the end of Esau's kingdom right now. We're coming to an end. And at their end is our beginning, you so-called black people, you so-called Mexicans, Colombians, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Native Americans, the tribes. Our beginning is coming, right? And what's coming to Esau is, let me see what I have here. I could close with this. Father of lies. I don't need to get that. So this is Obadiah chapter 1. I'll start at 16, verse 16, and it says, verse 15, for the day of Yahweh is near upon all heathen, all you heathen, you Ishmaelites, you Arabs, you East Indians, you Moabites, you Chinese, Japanese, you Hamites, you Hamites, man, in the land of Africa, which our people are scattered along that land as well. But all you heathens, and especially you Edomites, the Lord is near upon you, as it says, as thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathens drink continually, being corrupted and being oppressed and destroyed. Yeah, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. You Edomites, But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance. And the Mount Zion is speaking about Israel, or salvation, man. And there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. So all of the wealth that you have accumulated over the years and continue to accumulate, it will be possessed by the Israelites, the true chosen people of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And verse 18 reads, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall be kindled in them and devour them. And there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh Shem Yahushai has spoken it. You Edomites will be exterminated from the planet Earth. That's Bible prophecy, and that's what's coming. And they of the south shall possess the mount of Esau, and they of the plain the Philistines, and they shall possess the fields of Ephraim, and the fields of Samaria, and Benjamin shall possess Gilead. Right, and this is, they're speaking from their point of view back then, what they could see and what was there, but all of these things are reincarnated and back on the earth, because America is modern day Babylon, Egypt, and all of these lands that these Edomites have possessed, and Rome, so on and so forth. And the captivity of this host of the children of Israel shall possess the Canaanites, even unto Zarephath. And the captivity of Jerusalem, which is Sepharad, shall possess the cities of the south. And the Savior shall come up on Mount Zion to judge the mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, on down to the nation of Israel. So Esau, death is coming for you, because you're taking it too far, and that's what the Lord told us you would do. You won't stop. You will keep getting worse and worse. Your wickedness is just gonna get worse and worse. There's only one solution, is extermination. Death to all Edomites. And prepare for slavery, man. Read Deuteronomy chapter 13. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Hear the patience and the faith of the saint. So with that, as always, all praises, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rukrahak Wadash Abad Babal, Shalom.